Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. So in today's problem of the day video, we'll see the question with two concepts. One is from integrals, this is of improper integrals concept, and the second one is complex numbers. As these questions are framed by me, basically I'm not taking any help from any source. So these questions, I like to combine these questions and then give the final question, because it will actually help us test the skills in each and every concept, and it will be helpful for us to know where actually are we weak and where actually are we strong. So yeah, so that's the main reason behind this type of combination questions. So the question says that given that minus infinity to infinity f of x dx is equal to 7, then minus infinity to infinity f of x minus 1 by x dx is equal to k. Fine. Now, if alpha, alpha squared, so on till alpha k minus 1 are the kth roots of unity except 1, so you can even see that from here, then find the value of real of alpha plus alpha per k minus 1 plus real of alpha square plus alpha per k minus 2 plus so on till plus real of alpha per k minus 1 by 2 plus alpha per k plus 1 by 2. I have taken this question as a from a source, this complex numbers from a source, and to be honest, I could have changed this real to imaginary, but because I'm facing some health issues, like I'm not able to focus much, but still it's a good question even if it's a real part involved here. Fine. So how do we proceed? So basically, let us first write the things that are given. So minus infinity to infinity f of x dx is equal to 7. That is the given thing and given equation. Like the question is absolutely to find the value of k first, isn't it? Once we know the value of k, then we can proceed on to all this stuff. So first of all, we need to find the value of k. So minus infinity to infinity f of x minus 1 by x dx is equal to k. Fine. So these are the things given to us. Mm, Now, here comes the substitution. Fine. So many people will actually try to proceed from here. They may be successful or they may not be successful. I have no idea. Fine. They shall try from here. But we shall look at in a different way. Fine. We shall substitute from here. Fine. We shall substitute from here. And also, I would like to tell this at the very first itself. There's some problem in the PDF. Like in the other steps I shall again notify there, but if I forgot, that's the reason. I may forget at that time to say that. That's the reason I'm telling you people right now itself. There's a problem at some part of the solution, so but the final result is the same, so please don't mind. You can just take the reference of this video if you are so confused. So the thing is, we should proceed from here itself. So how do we proceed is, let us substitute x is equal to y minus 1 by y. Fine. Let us substitute x is equal to y minus 1 by y. Why? Because substituting this will actually help us to get the final result in this way. I shall show you how. And how did I get that logic? Because first thing is, we must actually look onto the concept of change of variables. Fine. So we are required to bring our integrand into this form, isn't it? We are required to bring our integrand into this form. So ultimately, the final logic that need to be applied after failure of all other logics is putting x is equal to y minus 1 by 5. You cannot put x is equal to x minus 1 by x, isn't it? It's not correct. It's not it's not meaningful, right? So that's the reason you must keep x is equal to 1 minus 1 by y first, and then try to get the final result in this form, and then use the change of variable so that you can change the y into x at the final result. So this is how you need to proceed. So if I consider x is equal to y minus y by y, then dx would be dy minus 1 by y square dy, and there is a small mistake. This is plus 1 by y square dy, so we must be very careful in this type of things. So this is actually dy into 1 plus 1 by y square. Fine, this is the value. So we can actually substitute this now in this equation. So and also we should look at the limits also. So x is equal to y minus 1 by y, so yx would be equal to y square minus 1. So y square minus yx will be equal to 1. And if that is the case, this is a quadratic equation in y, so we can write this as y is equal to x plus or minus root over b square, so that is x square minus 4ac, so that would be plus 4, that's it, plus 4, and divided by 2 into 1, that is 2. So when I put x is equal to minus infinity, fine, when I put x is equal to minus infinity, actually these type of things must be evaluated in a different way, like because infinity and minus infinity are not defined, that means limits are not defined, so we must actually put limit and then evaluate this. So this is like, to be honest, this is like a wrong method, to be honest, but the reason why are we using it, instead of putting limits and all those stuff and finally ending up with the same answer, almost the same answer, in some cases it's different, so here in this case it matches, so that's the reason I'm using it. Rather I wouldn't have used it. We should have kept limits, like put minus infinity is a and this as b and then solve it, fine. So but this here it's acceptable. So when you put x is equal to minus infinity, y would be minus infinity plus or minus, and because this is infinity, x is actually tending to infinity, so x square will be infinity, x is minus infinity, so x square will be positive and it will be much more bigger, and compared to that 4 is very very negligible. So this whole part will actually can actually be written as root over x square itself, and this is basically x, fine. So minus infinity plus or minus infinity divided by 2, and minus infinity divided by 2, it's again minus infinity, and but why couldn't we take minus infinity plus infinity by 2? Because if that is the case, the answer would be 0, and when you cannot put 0 in the denominator, fine. So that is a reason. Actually these all things doesn't make sense, to be honest. How can you just approximate infinity and do all these things? But still it works out fine, it still works out, so that is a reason, that's it. And because these are all the things that will finally result the same value when you do in the conventional method, fine. So these are the things for now, and then when you put x is equal to plus infinity, y would be infinity plus or minus infinity by 2 and the same answer, so you will get the infinity, you cannot take the value is 0, fine. And now, so what will be the final value now? So this will actually transform to minus infinity to infinity, and instead of x we have put y minus 1 by y, and dx as dy into 1 plus y square, so 1 plus y 1 by y square dy, fine. Now we shall like take we shall simplify it, so this is minus infinity to infinity f of y minus 1 by y dy plus minus infinity to infinity f of 1 y minus 1 by y yeah into dy by y square, fine. This is how we need to do it. Now it's time for breaking this integral, because we know that at 0 this y is not defined, isn't it? At 0 this y is not defined. In this original case you can put x is equal to 0, doesn't matter, but because x is not in denominator or anything like that, but here y is in denominator, so we should break the integral, isn't it? And we also must remember this, that this whole value is actually equal to 7, fine. From here itself we have come, right, and this value is actually 7, so we must keep all these things in mind. So first of all let us break this second part. So here in this case I have written wrongly in the PDF part, so please if you are so confused there, you can just check here, fine. You can just take the reference, like people can identify that there's some mistake, so if still you people were not able to, then you can just take it here. So the thing that I've written wrongly is like it makes controversial, that's it. So minus 1 by y is equal to z is what I've taken, so that makes things much more complicated, and but the final answer is same, but it makes things complicated, so that's the reason I don't want to write in that way. So I'll just put 1 by y is equal to z, then it becomes 1 by minus 1 by y square dy is equal to dz, okay. So this is what we're going to get, and now if that is the case, f of y minus 1 by y would be f of, so minus 1 by y is there's some mistake, no, yeah, 1 by y is equal to z, right? So this would become y is equal to 1 by z, and so yeah, this would become 1 by z minus 1 by y is equal to z, yeah. So here itself we are also have done some mistakes, so please don't mind it, you can just come here for the reference. And also the limit changes as now let us first break this integral, and then write all the required things. So this integral actually transforms as minus infinity to 0 f of 1 minus 1 by y dy plus by y square plus 0 to infinity f of y minus 1 by y dy by y square. Fine. And now substituting the required limits, like if y is equal to infinity, if y is equal to minus infinity, first of all let us take that case. If y is equal to minus infinity, then z will be equal to 0, isn't it? Z will be equal to 0. And yeah, if y is equal to infinity, then z will be equal to 0 again. And why, if it's sending it 0, now that's the case I don't want to like go in this method, but still I'm actually going in this, because y is equal to 0 you cannot put it, but it's like limit y tends to 0. Fine, limit y tends to 0, this is the conventional method. So if that is the case, then z will actually tend to infinity. So that's the reason people say don't just apply some random methods to solve improper integrals. We must actually solve through limit and all. But yeah, sometimes it works out, and that is this case. And so this might create various controversies, but yeah, I have my required answers to support my solution. So this actually becomes minus infinity to 0, right? So yeah, if that is the case, I'm upon substituting y minus y by y like this 1 by y as z, so this actual integral will become 1 by z. Let me write with the white ink itself. So this is, so minus infinity to 0. So if minus infinity, then z is equal to 0, and if this is if this is 0, then z is equal to infinity, and this is basically f of yeah. And also we have this, right? This is minus 1 by y square dy d is equal to dz. So this minus actually gets into this bracket, so this becomes f of z minus 1 by z. Fine, z minus 1 by z into dy by sorry, this is dz. Now this is dz, and now the same is the case here, 0. So if it is 0, then z is actually infinity, and if it's infinity, then z is equal to 0. So the same thing here also, z minus 1 by z dz. So now we can see here the limits are changed, like the limits are interchanged, right? It's from 0 to infinity here, and from infinity to 0 here. So I can write this as minus 0 to infinity f of z minus 1 by z dz, isn't it? If that is the case, and this is here 0 to infinity f of z minus 1 by z dz. So you can see that these both are same, and so this gets cancelled, and so the value is 0. Fine, the value is 0 from this part. So that's the reason, like people may create some controversies on this, but yeah, as I've told you already, like I'm ready to face it, and I have my required solution, because there's nothing wrong here, isn't it? We have nothing wrong in this context. We have everything suited well, packed well. So what's wrong in this? So, and the next part is this one. Fine, this one. So how do we proceed this? Like for this is minus infinity to infinity f of y minus 1 by y dy. Let us not divide now. We can directly use the change of values. Okay, change of variables. So if I do the change of variables, fine, change of variables by replacing y by x. So if I do that, the value of this would be minus infinity, sorry, this is not minus, yeah, minus infinity to infinity f of x minus 1 by x dx. Fine, and this is basically nothing but k, isn't this is what's been asked. So this k is ultimately equal to, so let me put this as k, let me put this as k. So if this is k and this value is 0, so finally the answer is k is equal to 7. Fine, so k is equal to 7. So from here we can actually come to the conclusion that k is equal to 7. Fine, so this is how we'll come to the final answer. Like the major part, this is the major part, right? The other part of the question depends on this, and some people may feel that the next question, like this question, real part, is somewhat easy compared to the previous one. So yeah, some may proceed with this. So k is equal to 7. So that means what are the roots? What are the roots? So basically it's seventh roots of unity. The roots are seventh roots of unity except one. So that means the roots are alpha, alpha square, alpha cube, and so on, alpha power 6. So these are the roots. And what's the thing, that required expression? So that is real part of alpha plus alpha power 6 plus real part of alpha square plus alpha power 5 and plus real part of alpha cube plus alpha power 4. Fine, this is the part that we are required to find, isn't it? And now, so how do we do it? So let us first write the value of alpha. Okay, let us first write the value of alpha. So I just wanted to divide a line. What pen can we use? Yeah, we can use this. Yeah, nice. And this is nice. I just wanted to put all the stuff in the one place so that people don't confuse. That's my basic idea. So alpha, okay, so because all these roots are seventh roots of unity, so that means alpha power 7 is equal to 1. And what is 1? Cos 2 pi plus I sine 2 pi. So alpha would be equal to cos 2 pi plus I sine 2 pi whole power 1 by 7. So this is cos 2 pi by 7 plus I sine 2 pi by 7. Fine, this is the value, right, using De Moivre's theorem. So alpha value is this. Now what will be the value of alpha square? So alpha square would be, again using the De Moivre's theorem, I hope you guys know that. So this would be cos 4 pi by 7 plus I sine 4 pi by 7. And what is alpha cube? That is cos 6 pi by 7 plus I sine 6 pi by 7. And what is alpha power 4? It is cos 8 pi by 7 plus I sine 8 pi by 7. And alpha power 5 is equal to cos 10 pi by 7 plus I sine 10 pi by 7. And alpha power 6 cos 12 pi by 7 plus I sine 12 pi by 7. I hope I'm not wrong in any of this case. Yeah, it's fine. So now we must look at these things. So first of all, take this case of alpha power 6. Fine. Let us take this case of alpha power 6. Not only alpha power 6, we shall take after alpha power 6, we shall come to the value of alpha, this is alpha power 6, and then alpha power 5, okay, and then alpha power 4. So we shall actually take these cases in line wise, and we shall actually establish the relation between alpha, alpha square and alpha cube, and with alpha power 4, alpha power 5, alpha power 6 respectively. Fine. So let us take the value of alpha power 6, that is cos 12 pi by 7 plus I sine 12 pi by 7. So this can be written as cos of 2 pi minus, so how can we write this? So this can be written as cos 2 pi minus 2 pi by 7, isn't it? Plus I times sine of 2 pi minus 2 pi by 7. So what will this become? This is cos 2 pi by 7 and minus of I sine 2 pi by 7. Let me don't write this. Yeah, minus I sine 2 pi by 7. And what is this? So we can see actually the value of alpha here. Fine, we can see the value of alpha, that is cos 2 pi by 7 plus I sine 2 pi by 7, and this is cos 2 pi by 7 minus I sine 2 pi by 7. There is a minus here, so that means this is actually the conjugate of alpha. So this is conjugate of alpha. Similarly, alpha power 5 is equal to cos 10 pi by 7 plus I sine 10 pi by 7, and this is basically cos 2 pi. So how can we write this? This is 4 pi by 7. Fine. Plus I sine 4 pi by 7. Again 2 pi minus 4 pi by 7. So people are so confused, they can even just do it like 2 pi minus x by 7. So 7 into 2, 14 pi. So from 14 pi, what must be subtracted to get 10 pi? So that is 4 pi. So this is how you can do it. And basically I do it in the same way, just to avoid confusion and silly mistakes and all those stuff. So this is cos 4 pi by 7 minus I sine 4 pi by 7. And this is again a conjugate of alpha square. So this is conjugate of alpha square. And due to time factor and all the stuff, I'm just avoiding the last part. So similarly, if you proceed, we get this alpha power 4 as alpha cube conjugate. Okay, so this is what we're gonna get. And now it's time for us to go to the next page. I think we can actually adjust this here. Please don't mind, like you people, some of you may think I'm lacking pages. It's not possible in digital, right? You can take infinity number of pages. The thing is, I don't want to get people to be confused. If I put everything on same page, they can actually try to read it. They need not go from one slide to other slide or something like that. And people who actually need that, they're provided with the PDF facility. So either of those cases of people are can be happy. There's no problem. So here alpha power square is equal to conjugate of alpha. Alpha power 5 is equal to conjugate of alpha square. So alpha 4 is equal to conjugate of alpha cube. So the part that we actually need to find transforms into real of alpha power 6 is alpha bar plus alpha plus real of alpha square bar plus alpha square plus real of alpha cube bar plus alpha cube. Fine, this is what we're going to get. And this, we know the value of alpha. What's the value of alpha? Cos 2 pi by 7. Fine, cos 2 pi by 7, like you can just add them up. Cos 2 pi by 7 plus I sin 2 pi by 7 plus cos 2 pi by 7 minus I sin 2 pi by 7. So the real parts remains and the imaginary parts gets cancelled. So finally we will be left with 2 times 2 no more 2 2 times cos 2 pi by 7 plus cos 4 pi by 7 plus cos 6 pi by 7. Many people have many ways to solve this part. Okay, we shall look at it in a different way. You can just add these both. So we get this to be cos, I can write this first, 2 cos 4 pi by 7 and cos 2 pi by 7 plus cos 4 pi by 7. So we can just take the cos 4 by 7 outside of the bracket. So this becomes 2 cos 4 pi by 7 into 2 cos 2 pi by 7 plus 1. Fine. Now we actually need to look out for the logic. Fine. So how do we proceed now? So we can actually see cos 4 pi by 7 here, isn't it? We can actually see cos 4 pi by 7. So we must actually try to get rid of all these terms because we have no definite values for this. Fine. We have no definite values. And also we must actually try to simplify the inner bracket also. This is 2 cos 2 pi by 7 plus 1. So even to proceed this in a different way, this is somewhat not possible. Fine. So the only way is to think logically to get rid of all these terms, and getting rid of all these terms will simultaneously lead to getting rid of this term also, so that we get a particular value, a constant value that we know without use of calculator. If people use calculator, they can even solve it right now here itself, but they don't even need to look out for logic. Fine. I'm talking about the people who wanted to try some logics and find the answer. So what do we do is, let us multiply sin pi by 7 in the numerator and get that inside the bracket and the denominator also. So that leads to 2 cos 4 pi by 7 into 2 cos 2 pi by 7 into sin pi by 7 plus 1. Fine. And yeah, everything's fine, right? Yeah, fine. Okay. So this is what, and divided by sin pi by 7. And how can we write this? 2 cos 2 pi by 7 and sin pi by 7. This is basically cos 3 pi by 7, right? This is cos 3 pi by 7. So, I mean cos 3 pi by 7 minus sin pi by 7. Isn't it? Yeah, we have, there's some mistake here. That's the reason. Like I often do such type of mistakes because we have brought sin pi by 7 inside. So we also must multiply with 1 also. So pi by 7. Fine. So this will leads to 2 cos 4 pi by 7 times, this is cos 3 pi by 7 minus no, this is sin 3 pi by 7 minus sin pi by 7, and here we have plus sin pi by 7, so divided by sin pi by 7. Fine. So we can just cancel these two, minus sin pi by 7 and plus sin by 7. So the other part can be written here. I think I can adjust this. So I'm successful in this part. I've successfully adjusted a lot of things in just one page. To be honest, this actually consumes 2 pages. I'm successful in this. So this is these two gets cancelled. So we'll be finally left with 2 cos 4 pi by 7 into sin 3 pi by 7 divided by sin pi by 7. Fine. And now you people know this part. This is 2 cos 4 pi by 7 sin 3 pi by 7, same in this way. So we get here, so what we get here, we get this part to be 4 pi by 7 3 pi by 7. So this both adds up first, and that will lead to the cos of it, I think. No, sin itself. Yeah, sin itself, sin 7 pi by 7 and minus, so when you subtract these two, you get this sin pi by 7 divided by sin pi by 7. So what is 7 pi by 7? it is sine pi, right? So this is 0. So numerator would be minus sine pi by 7 divided by sine pi by 7. So the answer is 1. So people don't think me that I request you, please don't think in that way that I don't even know the basic trigonometry and all the stuff. I'm so worried about the silly mistakes that I do very often. To be honest, we should not categorize them as silly mistakes. They are the main mistakes which anyone can actually perform. But I'm so worried about them. Though I'm 20 years old, but I'm still not so perfect in avoiding them. So that's the reason I check each and every part for twice or thrice and then move on. Right now I habituated this, not before 2 or 3 months. These days, recently I've habituated this. So please don't think like I don't even know the basic trigonometry. If that is the case, I would not be in such a position right now. Okay, respectable position, to be honest. So these are all the things, and yeah, so let's end up today's video in this way. So the answer is -1. So I hope you guys actually enjoyed this. So you can actually have a zoom view, I guess. Yeah, you can have a zoom view. So actually I'm facing with some health issues. That's the reason you guys may actually find some uh, differences in the voice and levels and all those stuff. So I hope I'll be back soon. So this is all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.